Hey, what's up, everybody? Let me figure out some things here because I'm doing this live and I'm the only one in the station. So give me a second here. Uh, Jump over here. And hey there. I think you can hear me. Yep, got meters going. Got the meters going on the stream, so we should be good to go. Now, one thing I need to do is, as you look at the radar picture, you see a couple of tornado warnings down in North Carolina. I am going to start my TikTok stream as well. So we're going to go there. You can see the heavier rain moving in, and I'm gonna put that up full. Go. So as you look at that, you can see that heavier rainfall moving in. Still just sprinkling and showering east of the Blue Ridge, but areas from Sparta into Hillsville seeing some activity now in the form of storms and some rotation coming out of Wilkes County in North Carolina. A pretty heavy storm there. As TikTok plays wide open on my phone. As soon as I go into it, I need to go in here and type what's going to be happening here. We still have some time before this gets into our part of Virginia, but I did want to kind of jump on before this got into for our immediate area so we could see it upstream and kind of give you a heads up on that. So we're going to go in here and we're going to add live broadcast. And we're going to go live on TikTok. We had 1,600 views in the live part of our coverage, which was pretty cool. So that's why I'm making sure I keep the folks on all platforms up to date here. All right. And now you can see me again. I've got my scanners on, so it's a little bit of everything going on right now. But we do have a tornado warning in effect for Surry, Wilkes, and Yadkin counties. That's in effect until 11:15. At 10:56, we've got a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Love Valley, 10 miles to the southeast of Wilkesboro, moving northeast at 50 miles per hour. So this is the main line. And with this line, we do have a lot of rain, very torrential downpours actually occurring in this line. And there's a sharp clearing out behind here. So we're good to go. The tornado watch has been dropped for western North Carolina. I do think this line is pushing east to north a little faster than the models had anticipated. That may be some good news for those of you who want to get to bed, but we got to get it through here first before we can call it a night and go to bed like I want to do, and a lot of you do want to do, I'm sure. Our local area here, Tazewell County, is seeing the heaviest of the rain starting to push into the center there near the airport, near Richlands. Also in the Smith County and western Grayson County, we do have a flash flood warning in effect for Grayson County and southern parts of southwestern Grayson County going into western Wilkes County. And then you can see the tornado warning here. So let's zoom into that area near Love Valley, State Road, and Jonesville. You can see a lot of lightning there popping up there on the screen as well. That's where the tornado warning's in effect. We're going to show it to you on our WSV3 software. Zoom on in here. And I'm going to take off the composite radar and just show you the alerts. I've also taken off the tornado watch so you don't get too bogged down with the different colors on your screen. But this is what we're looking at here. And again, this is 10 miles southeast of Wilkesboro here, your Taylorsville, Love Valley, and Elkin. Enough rotation coming into Wilkes County is what the Weather Service in Blacksburg saying. The intensity's not really changed in the last few scans, so it continues to be something that they're watching intensify or at least maintain its intensity. And you can see it here as you reverse this a little bit. You can see that lightning jump. We call that a lightning jump right there near Love Valley. And I need to get my county cheat sheet up here on the other screen. Give me just 1 second there too. That's in Wilkes County. And in Alexander County, North Carolina, it extends into Surry County and Yadkin County as well. So let's blow this back up. So this is wind that's showing some directional shear into the radar site out of Blacksburg. But notice how the lightning bolts are centered right around the rotation. So you've got wind going away from the radar here, going toward the radar here. This is Iredell County, and this is Alexander County. Now that cell is moving to the north at 50 miles per hour. So the rotation with that is now moving into Wilkes County. Yeah, in Wilkes County, I think you've seen, what, 3 or 4 warnings throughout the night, so or the day today. That continues moving closer to Rhonda and Jonesville in North Carolina. And I show that to you if you're watching out of Virginia. I'm showing this because it's upstream from Carroll and Patrick counties. And if this holds together, we would see the warnings start to become an issue here with these storms pushing to the northeast. So here's the loop, and you can see how everything's kind of spiraling around. This is the main band that the models have had a grip on in terms of forecasting for us over the past really 12 to 24 hours. We knew we would have kind of a grand finale with this, and that's what we're seeing right now. All right, so go to our latest loop. I want to see if I've got any debris showing up. Do you see a lowering of correlation coefficient? It's really hard to tell because it's so far away from the radar. We're looking at 7,000 feet up in these storms, even from the Blacksburg radar. So this is an area that's right in between the Greenville-Spartanburg radar, and it's right in between the Floyd County, Virginia radar. It's really hard for us to see the very lowest levels because that's unfortunately where a lot of the rotations occurring, a lot of the potential tornadic activities very low to the ground. So if there's a tornado in here, the beam's actually going right over this thing, and we're not able to see very much other than a diffuse kind of circulation here. But I do need to update my storm vector, my motion here. So what we do is we go here, and they said it was going at 50. So I'm going to put a dot place marker here, and we're going to follow that cell and put a new dot and take our storm motion from that. So now when we go to our storm relative velocity, we've got an up-to-date kind of look here, and that does pop out better for us. So this is southeastern Wilkes County, which falls in the National Weather Service area of responsibility. And this is the area that we're looking at right there. Potential rotation there, southeastern Wilkes County. Just updated. Looks a little weaker now, but still need to watch this. The warning's in effect until 11:15, so about another 10 minutes or so. Let's bring over our weather tap radar picture here, and we'll show you what's going on with that. We've got numerous flood advisories in effect for the NRV. Aerial flood advisories out for Carroll County until 4 o'clock in the morning. It's going to take a while for all this water that's coming down. We've got, you know, rainfall amounts of 2 to 4 inches here occurring as we see that heavier rainfall moving through. So that's going to, you know, cause some water issues, especially in the low spots. But of course, the main concern is for the rotation and the potential tornadic activity in this line. It's kind of like a negatively tilted synoptic system in that, you know, we still do have tropical depression Fred off to our west. It's now entering Kentucky, It's already passed through the Bristol area. So the center's not the big deal. It's the circulation around the center. And this is kind of like a last little cold front. Although there's no cooler air, there's drier air that's coming in behind it. And that's what's kind of energizing these storms. So the storm's going to be entering Surrey County very soon. And that's why you are under the tornado warning by around 11:15 over the next 10 to 15 minutes. If it holds together, the potential rotation will be moving in the Yadkin and Surrey counties. And we'll see if the National Weather Service in Blacksburg decides to change any polygons or issue any warnings following this. And we may have to, say, okay, we're going to kill some time here if the warning expires and there's no rotation. Things can flare up in a real quick hurry and go right back down in a quick hurry. So I decided to go ahead and jump on because I don't want to continue, signing on and signing off when this line continues to move through. I think it's going to start to accelerate through the area. So I do have the inclination that maybe as early as 2 o'clock in the morning, we may be done with most of this activity, but that's not a guarantee. It's just kind of a gut feeling that I've got based on the trends that we've been seeing. There's some broad rotation still way down into North Carolina as well. And again, we've got the bulk of this still only getting into Marion, Smith County, and again, Richlands right now. We've got just ordinary rain in Floyd County, Patrick County, Hillsville, Wytheville, Pulaski, Bland, Tazewell, up to Bluefield. We've got some showers. We had a possible tornado earlier just outside of Lynchburg. That was in effect at around, I think, 6:30 in the evening. Tuesday, and now we're going into the late hours of Tuesday into Wednesday. Sporadic showers are also breaking out here, maybe with some gusty winds in the Fincastle and Bedford and the parts of Roanoke County as well. Right now, the only warning in effect is the Blacksburg polygon that they've put out here for the rotation that seems a little more diffuse to me in southeast Wilkes County. There it was, right there. So you had the yellow going toward and this going away. That's a storm relative. It was pretty strong rotation. And there was a little bit of lowering on the correlation coefficient. But if there was a tornado, it probably didn't even show up on the radar because the radar, again, the beam is so daggone high. Now, I don't like what I see here because I do see the lower values as we take this back in time to where that cell became a tornado issued storm. These lower values here show me that those cranberry colors is where we're looking at rain, but the oranges and the yellows is where we could be looking at a little debris in the air. And that could have been lofted, and then the radar beam could have just been picking up. Remember, it's at 7,000 feet at that level, that distance away from the radar. So it could have been picking up the very top of that. We don't know what's underneath that. So we'll have to rely on some reports on chat, and from the all the emergency managers are on here. 10:57. Okay, that's the last update. Still the lightning holding together. If you're in Galax and Cana and southwestern parts of Patrick County, you can probably hear the thunder and see the lightning off in the distance again. Maybe not, though. It's raining pretty good right now in the Stewart and Floyd. And no doubt, again, there's some water issues out there as well. Some of the lower spots are flooding. I've been listening to the scanner reports out of North Carolina, and they've been going crazy, getting all of these counties that are just about all of western North Carolina is under some sort of flood advisory or flash flood warning. But they had, and I don't know what county it was because I had them all loaded up, but just to give you an idea, there are some areas. There was one specific area where they had about 7 residents of it. Sounded like an apartment complex. They were on the second floor. The first floor was flooded, and the fire department was staying on the scene and telling them to shelter in place on the second floor. It sounded like they knew that was, a place that normally floods, and they were ready for it, as that area is very susceptible to the flooding as well. We do have now the tornado warning that has expired for Surrey, Yadkin, and Wilkes County. So this is going to drop any second. There it goes. So no longer is there a tornado warning because we looked at the rotation together and we didn't see much. As soon as that happened, soon as that happened, it looks like it's trying to maybe become more linear or maybe cycle itself back together. So we're going to keep our eye on the area just to the east of Mulberry and just to the east of North Wilkesboro. This is in North Carolina. Here's the Virginia state line, and the activity is expected to kind of move to the north. Let's look at, while we've got a chance with no warnings, I want to show you the overall wind shear. This is where our winds are blowing at different heights and in different directions and at different speeds. The combination of that leads to the spin, the capability of producing that spin that we see. So I'm going to zoom it in here a little bit. And you can see very high amounts of wind shear through the Mountain Empire. This is a spot in the country where, again, if you look at overall patterns for tornadoes, you'd say that's not really the most ideal pattern or place to be when you're looking at tornado and activity. But the tropical air that's in place, and we've got a lot of it, and a lot of wind shear, that is allowing all of this to still unfold even over the mountains, these possible tornadoes. Drier areas moving in aloft, but that's also helping some of the instability. So this is now, and anything over 20 to 30 knots of shear, that's significant. The instability is weaker on the northern end of this, but still, just to give you an idea, as we go through the next 2 to 4 hours, the shear starts to move more into Virginia. Now the question is, will the line still be moving in, or will it move past the shear? Because it looks to me like that line is accelerating a little bit. Certainly a lot of moisture in the air. This is the overall moisture transport. It really shows up when I do this. This is the looking at about, say, 2,000 feet up to 5,000 feet. This is the degree of moisture that's coming in. And these are vectors, so the bigger the arrows, see the lighter arrows back to the west, the bigger the arrows, the more we have to talk about in terms of wind out there in the 5,000 foot level. So that's definitely strong. You can look at the 850 millibar winds here on version 2, and you can see at 5,000 feet they are pretty strong right now into the Roanoke Valley area. Now we've got those higher winds up across the Allegheny Highlands. This is just off the ground at 5,000 feet, so it may be gusty on some of the mountaintops and maybe gusty at times in some of these rain showers, but you can see that goes down into North Carolina and South Carolina as well. And it will put this forward. This is off the RAP model, and you can see how that continues to push north and east through the area. So in another 2 to 4 hours, this is going to be more of a central eastern Virginia thing, and I think it may actually diminish as it moves east because we're going to get into the coolest part of the morning when that happens. That's my hope anyway. So I think the next, now through about 1 to 2 hours, will be the time to really watch. The most unstable air, the instability has weakened, I'll tell you that. We've got 73 outside the TV station here, and our dew point's at 72. So it's still unstable, but it's just a little bit of instability. The problem is there's so much wind shear that's compensating for that. So sometimes you get tornadoes when you have a little bit of shear and a lot of instability, like in the summer when we have those big pop-ups like we had last week. But then other times it's the exact opposite, like it is now, just a lot of shear because of the tropical system, a lot of moisture, but very skinny cape profiles in terms of available energy. So you can think of that as available energy. This is lifted indices showing us where the air is unstable. If you've got warm air below cold air, the cold air is heavy, the warm air is light. It wants to reverse itself, and that's why you get thunderstorms. So you can see the red arrows here showing us where, let's see, show you where the wind's coming in from the southeast there. And then if you go and circle the, or follow the blue arrows, it's coming in out of the southwest. And it's that crisscrossing motion. When you put an updraft through that, it starts to spin when other conditions are right, like they are right now. So we've got a new special weather statement in effect for southeastern Allegheny, southwestern Surrey, northeastern Wilkes, central Yadkin counties, and North Carolina until 11:45. I'm going to check that out. Take this off, go back, erase that dot I drew there. This shows the drier air, by the way. Look at that yellow. If this was daytime, that would be all sunshine. And it would be really the end. It's pretty much signaling the end of the severe weather. Notice the tornado watch. The good news is Asheville down to Greenville, Spartanburg. You're in the clear now. You've got a lot of runoff, a lot of flooding issues here. Still some remaining showers up around Kingsport, but that shouldn't amount to too much more. It's really this band here that's coming into Tazewell County, going down to Charlotte. That's the concern. So anywhere east of this band is the area that we still want to watch for possible tornadic development. And you can see that that red outline is the tornado watch that's in effect until 2 o'clock. Riding up Interstate 77, a tough go of it right now. And again, if you're in Roanoke areas, Rocky Mount down to Martinsville, Danville into Eden, Rockingham, Stokes County, and Surrey counties, conditions are going to get worse before they get better. But hopefully we won't have this around for too much longer because it is moving pretty fast. This is the new area of special concern. They call it a special weather statement. It's just below a warning. So if you think of a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning, well, there's this product called a special weather statement that doesn't really alert and sound the sirens or whatever, but it is something noteworthy. So it's something they can put out and just draw our attention to. That way, if a warning comes out, we're already tracking it for you. And it's a little hard to see, so I've been outlining these throughout the night, but it is for this area, Yadkinville to Dobson, right up near Mount Airy. It's for this area until 11:45. And we'll read that for you. Let's see. Strong thunderstorms will impact portions of southeastern Allegheny, northwestern Surrey, northeastern Wilkes, and central Yadkin counties, and northwestern North Carolina through 11:45. We've got strong storms along a line extending from Trap Hill to near Buck Shoals. The movement is northeast at 40 miles per hour. Gusty winds of 40 miles per hour. When you have all the water that's in the ground, the trees are falling down like crazy, even in our local area ahead of this line, because just a 5 or 20 mile per hour wind gust with the soggy ground's enough to take these trees down, unfortunately. And we've actually seen some damage from that throughout the day today. As these storms, even though there's no tornado warning out for it at the moment, there was a few minutes ago, and this could easily become another tornadic storm. We see that a lot in tropical systems. They spin up, they spin back down. Sometimes they do it in between radar scans, but the Weather Service is highlighting this area, kind of paintbrushing it for you, letting you know that things could change in a real quick hurry, and that's why I'm live to let you know the same thing. All right, so it's getting closer to Virginia. The actual polygon of that special weather statement there runs right to Low Gap, so just to the southwest of Fancy Gap. Just trying to get you ready here from Pulaski, Wytheville, into Hillsville. I'm trying to get you ready maybe in Patrick County as well. Over the next hour, things are going to start to go downhill from the south and from the west. The good news is, too, with that line moving through, though, as I was talking about, Marion and Saltville, Troutdale, western Grayson counties now in the clear from the severe weather. So the line continues to kind of rapidly move through the area. That's good and bad because the speed of it, the increasing speed kind of adds a little bit of wind shear there too. But the intensity of some of the storms in Virginia does appear to be lower than what I'm seeing in North Carolina. That being said, we do need to continue watching this for North Carolina. We've got streams and creeks out of their banks in Iredell County. Still got some storms going on here. We had a lightning strike to a roof, and the roof collapsed with the building on fire in Catawba County. That's where Hickory's at, and if you travel I-40, you know that area well. Hickory Crawdads, there's Newton there, but this is south of the interstate. Is where this was, and that was at about 22. That was at about 10 o'clock. I heard that on the scanner, actually. I could hear a lot of chatter going on. That's in southern Catawba County. Floyd County, Blacksburg, the rain's starting to pick up here as well. No warnings except for a flash flood warning in far western Grayson County. I didn't use this program earlier, but I want to show it to you. This is called Radar Omega. The mapping is awesome with this. Actually, it shows that special weather statement even better than the other one. So I'm going to use this for the time being, and we'll zoom on in here. It's got the roads, so you can kind of make out more destinations. Oak Grove, Salem Fork, Mulberry, Poplar Springs. That's I-77. So I-77 is getting ready to be a rough ride for anybody that has the unfortunate job of traveling. I wouldn't recommend it. I'd hold off another 30 minutes to an hour and let this kind of blow on through the area, especially with the fact that we've seen, tornadic activity earlier in the day on Tuesday. In some of these reports here, this was at 1:15 p.m. So this is with that first batch, but these were confirmed tornadoes, and a brief tornado touched down, a house damaged on Klingman Road, and damage to a chicken house or farm in that area there in Wilkes County. By the way, Wilkesboro, you're now west of the line, so you're good in Wilkesboro, but Rhonda and Elkin, you're still out ahead of this. And that's where we have our blue shaded area. That's the special weather statement. Zooming back out, there it gives you a wider view. Here's Virginia. By the way, West Virginia's got some pretty heavy rain here, and the concern for flooding exists there as well. Looks like I heard something go off here on my... All right, I got a report now from Watauga County, North Carolina. That's where Boone's at. This report's 1 mile northwest of Boone. Had a flash flood, multiple images and videos showing ongoing flash flooding with multiple vehicles with water above their tire lines. That's more than likely from social media. But that just came in here from the Boone area. If I change this to our digital accumulation array, we'll be able to see some of the rainfall that's been estimated out of this area. And it doesn't reach Boone on this particular product, but I can inspect for you the Wilkes County area on rainfall. And you can see here that that's been up around 1 to 2 inches. I think we can do storm total though. Let's see. Storm total precip. Yeah, 2 inches, 2.8 inches in this area. Radar is going to always underestimate the Boone area. When it says 1 inches, it's more like 4. Just because it's so far away from the radar, it doesn't get a good guess at how much rain fell. But when we're getting actual reports like we are right now, ongoing flooding in the Boone, North Carolina area, cars with water above their tire lines, and hopefully folks aren't trying to drive through this because it only takes about that much water up to the tire line, up to the top of the tires to sweep a car downstream. Water is very powerful once it gets going, and that's a concern as well. We're getting some kinks in the line here. That's not a good thing. Like if this was a solid line, we'd probably have more in the way of straight line winds, but we're starting to see some notches in here that indicates the atmosphere is trying to turn these cells into something that would spin. It doesn't look as bad as it was earlier today. That's the good news. Reading is something out of the Weather Service talking more about the situation ongoing in downtown Boone. Multiple vehicles, water above the tire wells, 1 foot of rushing water plus. They're trying to reach the emergency manager, county dispatch for further details, but they can't get in for the number of calls they are currently receiving. I can go in here and we can hear... I can hear anyway, the Stokes County, North Carolina, Watauga County area. And pretty busy. Make sure I can get... Yeah, I've got Watauga County up there too. Not too much chatter at the moment, of course. When I unmuted, of course, there's no chatter on the scanner. But plenty of chatter now going on in the NRV and in Northwest North Carolina. That's been the case for the past couple of hours. So, all right, let's update the radar here. Now we're looking at Wytheville and going into Tazewell itself. Richlands, you are now in the clear. You do have more rain around Lebanon, but that's non-severe. We're not worried about the tornadoes there with that line. So we'll go back to our water vapor imagery, and we've got a new update out from the Storm Prediction Center as well. This area here, we're going to talk about, they're going to tell us about what they think of this tornado watch that's in effect. Few rotating storms still possible. That was the old update. Here's the new flash flood report that you see there on your screen. Multiple images and videos of flash flooding ongoing in Boone. Now we've got an aerial flood advisory in effect for Bland, Wythe, and Mercer County. And by the way, if you follow me on Twitter, you just saw that in a number of different ways. I've got a third way to auto post all of these alerts. So I've got basically triple coverage with me doing these live streams. My Twitter feed at Jamie Singleton is going to continuously post all of this right as it comes out at the same time. You'll see it right there on the feed. I don't have it where you can see particular locations or anything like that, but it's just a raw feed. And then I get on there and post stuff too. So really it's quadruple. But it's something I like to do right now. And actually I'm mirroring the National Weather Service in Blacksburg feed as well from their Twitter. They let me do that when I'm bogged down, because I am bogged down. I'm here by myself. It's a small station, but it's what I do. It's my dream. We've got aerial flood advisory for Bland County, Wythe County, Mercer County until 4 o'clock. So these are going for several hours. And I think I can pop that up here. I know where we'll go for that. We'll go to Radar Lab. Bland and Wythe. All right, so it's right there. It's this one here. Smith and Tazewell until 4. Radar indicated very heavy rain, minor flooding ongoing or expected soon. Between a ½ inch and 1 inch of rain's fallen since 4 o'clock Tuesday afternoon. But an additional 1 to 2 inches of rain now possible as this line starts to move through. Marion, Bluefield, Saltville, Cedar Bluff, Richlands, Tazewell, Chilhowie, even though they're the heaviest of the activity starting to move right over you, the next hour or so, the runoff issue is going to be there. And you could come across some low water flooding or low area flooding with the water there rushing across the road in a real quick hurry. And don't forget about the trees that are falling there as well. Rain starting to now pick up in Floyd County and Patrick County. Franklin County, still just cloudy. We've got a bit of a heavier cell now popping up around Lynchburg City. It's not huge or anything, but it's something to take note of. Because you've got to remember the lift is going to propagate. The line's moving east, but the lift is also propagating east into the area. And you can see that on the satellite, the brighter whites there, showing us where the activity is starting to move off to the north and to the east. I'm going to go to my high-res radar, and we're going to get a little geeky here and look at the base velocity and see if I see anything of particular concern velocity-wise. Got a few kinks starting to look more linear. We got to remember the radar relative to the data. So the radar's right here. We're looking this way. And we still had broad rotation down here in northern Iredell County, right along the line. But I'm actually in Virginia, I do not see anything of concern at the moment. But we are going to have to watch this general area as it starts to move. There's your reflectivity. As it starts to move more into Hillsville, I-77, what comes out of Independence could be a problem as well. If we do see something develop rotation-wise, sometimes what happens too, and this has been studied in this area, when storms that are already spinning come off of the mountains, the column is stretched like an ice skater, and it gets skinnier. And like an ice skater, the column can start to spin faster. And so that becomes an issue. Lightning there is updating as well. We're getting closer in the Galax now, starting to hear the thunder in Galax, low gap, I'm sure. And temperatures, again, are holding very foggy on I-77. That's a dangerous stretch to be on. and now some lightning striking around Fancy Gap. So this is moving on in and doesn't look particularly strong. That's the good news. I'm not seeing the rotation from Wytheville, Independence, and Sparta. It's just mainly the cell here. We do have a strong updraft because of the lightning, but the activity in Virginia up to Tazewell County isn't looking particularly severe at the moment. So I think we may be good there. We may get by okay with this, and I don't want to, jinx it or anything, but I'm just not seeing the intensity that I saw earlier in the afternoon, other than that quick scare right there of those 2 warnings that when I first went on the air with, but that has since diminished. Rainfall now entering Franklin County, so Cable 12 viewers, you'll see it there. See, I believe that would be divergence. So we're probably looking at near Roaring Gap State Road. This is in North Carolina, folks. We're watching some storms that have the potential for tornadic development, but we also have the potential for a microburst in here as well. Near I-77 coming out north of Statesville, an area that was put under numerous tornado warnings today, now under a tornado watch until 2 o'clock in the morning. This is the grand finale that's moving through now. That's why we're broadcasting live on TikTok and all the different social media platforms. Not long ago, we had a couple of tornado warnings out for Wilkes County, North Carolina, coming out of Iredell County and the Yadkin County. That has since been put down to a special weather statement, which means that the rotation is weakened for the time being, but the overall conditions are still favorable for potential tornadic development here. Got a lot of flooding going on here in the Boone area of North Carolina. You can see the flash flood warnings that are in effect. Not nearly as much red as we saw this afternoon as well. There is that cell there in Lynchburg. Let's just check that out for kicks here. That was right around the exact place where we had all those weird cloud pictures that looked kind of like a funnel earlier in this area. Yeah, maybe something weak there. And when we look at rotation, it does not automatically mean tornado. It just means the potential for some organization more than just a garden variety storm, obviously. A good number of storms actually rotate in the North Carolina, Virginia area on a daily basis when we get some bigger systems that move in, but they may not get anything down to the ground. And it's actually amazing to see how many people can ride around and not even know they're looking at a supercell down in the distance horizon. You're actually, sometimes you're seeing something. So we like to make you aware of what's happening. Lightning closing in on Independence and Galax, Mount Airy. Let's loop this for you. Throat's about to give out. I've been going for, let's see, 15 hours on about 4 or 5 hours sleep last night. This is what we do, though. So that cell near Lynchburg is kind of interesting. Kind of popped up out of Campbell County. And we've got to remember that it's not just North Carolina. Actually, no, there's not a tornado warning for Callaway, Virginia. There's a tornado watch until 2 a.m. But we've got to remember there's wind shear up here too. So these cells here in Lynchburg and Amherst, we don't want to leave out our folks in Lexington and Fincastle. The tornado watch stops at Botetourt County and Bedford County, but anything that comes out of this area could start spinning here as well. So we're going to continue to watch that too. And that's what the Weather Service is doing. They're watching it as well. Just watching the reading the National Weather Service folks. They're talking to the emergency managers and other media, my competition, but we really all work together. When we're on this chat, we can communicate our reports and make sure that you're getting the most valuable information fastest, and that's what our National Weather Service chat program allows us to do here. So right now it looks like it's Patrick County. I'd be on guard, but really Carroll County into Grayson County. That's the area I want to watch. I'm going to let that loop for a second, kind of see if I've got any comments or questions on the feed. It's hard to monitor everything at one time, but we can try. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you, Alessa. Rain go away. I know. It's so weird, Elizabeth, because we had, such a dry period most of the summer and late spring, in Virginia anyway. And we were talking, I talked on my Patreon about the drought and how we couldn't get rain. And then right after I posted that, the jet stream buckled and we got this big tropical system into the mix. And we've had now 6.5, almost 7 days of rain. Tomorrow will be a week of rain consistently. Raining pretty good in Floyd County. I don't see anything dangerous there in terms of wind. We may have some gusty winds in there though. The strongest cell right now is definitely near the Galaxy area, low gap. We've got a new strong thunderstorm alert here. This is for Surrey County, Grayson County, Galax. Basically, we're both doing the exact same thing at the Weather Service when we're looking at the strongest cells. So you're gonna see a box pop up here around Galax any second now. I'm gonna go ahead and read that to you. This is as of 11:38, right this second. A strong thunderstorm will impact portions of eastern Allegheny and northeastern Surrey counties. That's in North Carolina. There, as you see the lightning there, that's where that's at. And in the southeastern Grayson counties, southwestern Carroll County, right there. City of Galax, which is here, until 12:15. This isn't a warning, it's just a special weather statement, but they're mentioning that we could have winds in excess of 40 miles per hour because once you come right off the ground to about 5,000 feet, you still do have, even though it may not be rotating, you still got some straight line winds that are around 40, 50 miles per hour. Borderline severe, basically. So this could be something that we need to watch. And you can kind of see, if I put the velocity on, kind of see those brighter colors there showing up. An indication that we could be looking at some damaging or some borderline damaging straight line winds. This kind of takes out the light rain and shows me the heaviest of the rainfall. And you can see that from State Road, just about to exit eastern Wilkes County and approach the Galaxy area. It's also potentially a sign, when you see it pulse up like that, of intensification with these storms. Every time you hear that chime, that's a new TikTok follower. I appreciate the support from all over the country there. Just went through that mess just now in South Carolina. Pizza Man 71. Yeah. I tell you, South Carolina's been hit pretty hard. They've had numerous tornadoes confirmed in the upstate of South Carolina. Still around Columbia. He must be between Lancaster, Charlotte, Columbia, somewhere in this area. There's still a tornado watch in effect for that area as well until 2 o'clock in the morning. It's about over. The drier air is coming in from the west. You can see the surface winds here also coming in from the west-southwest. That's bringing in this nice area of dry air. Nice thing about weather is once these systems become extratropical, there's usually some fantastic weather to compensate on the backside. So we've got a lot of lift going on here ahead of this line that's about to come through, and we've got a lot of sinking air back through here, which is clearing us out. Maria, I am in Virginia. I'm south of Roanoke. I cover areas in the North Carolina, West Virginia, but primarily Western Virginia. But he's 10 miles south of Charlotte. Okay. Probably watch Brad Panovich some too. And we all follow each other. But I do just TikTok stuff just to keep folks in the general region up to date as well. And plus, since we're farther north out of the Carolinas, anything that's developing down here usually comes up our way. So tonight, since we've got a threat of tornadoes, I'm kind of sticking ahead of the what we would normally do and bring folks an update on what's happening upstream, so we don't get too caught off guard. We had things popping up on fast for us this afternoon, and really not really a curveball, but it kind of came in a bit early, that first band, and gave a lot of folks a scare with all the potential tornado activity and the confirmed activity in North Carolina. We've even got some heavier rainfall into West Virginia now. Hasn't got into Roanoke yet. But the good news is, again, off to the west, except for the rain and the rain issues, really it's just water that's running off here in the flooding. It probably will take a few more hours to get rid of all this, but there's a lot of dry air now moving in behind this, and the tornado watch has been dropped for Greenville, Spartanburg. Folks in the upstate, you can finally go to bed. Same story in Atlanta. Same story in Bristol. Roanoke, not so much yet. Not really in Blacksburg either. Well, Maria's in Arizona. Pizza Man lives in Blacksburg, South Carolina. Yep, there's a few Martinsvilles around the country too. We've got it on Martinsville. And what really confuses folks is I'm near Rocky Mount, Virginia, but of course there's Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And I'm in Franklin County, Virginia, and there's other Franklin counties, and there's Franklin, Virginia. So yeah, we like to confuse folks. All right, Michelle Jackson wants to know, she just sent me a message on Facebook, wants to know, she's in a mobile home basically. And if they get a tornado, I think that's what she's asking. I couldn't see the whole message. But if you get a tornado warning and you're in say a double wide or mobile home, what you want to do is make sure ahead of time that you've got a sturdy shelter to go to. Usually that could be a friend's house, a church, or somebody with a basement, or at least a brick or concrete shelter that you can get into. If you can't get to that, the fail-safe kind of, not really fail-safe, it's, how do I want to put it? All else fails. Go to a ditch and cover yourself with blankets or whatever. Get down into a culvert or a ditch. Or some people actually, and it's not really advised unless it's an extreme emergency and you've got nowhere else to go. Some people try to ride these out in their cars. And that doesn't guarantee your safety, but at least you have a metal frame around you, and you've got airbags in the car, so they could go off and protect you. The windows sometimes blow out in those. The good news I'm going to tell you right now is the degree of the potential tornado activity is nowhere close to where it was earlier this afternoon. And I kind of had a inclination that might be the case with it being nighttime now. But now we are watching that new special weather statement here that includes the Galax area. Let me see if we've got any rotation there. Oh yeah, it's beautiful. And responding fire, yeah, we're live there. Hey Dean. He's my buddy on responding fire. We have all kinds of content from local, basically what's going on as it happens, to they cover on responding fire too. They cover what's going on around the region and the country. So this isn't a warning, but it's a polygon from Roy Gap to the low gap near Galax. That's the strongest cell right now. But even putting that into motion, I don't see a lot of rotation. There's a little bit, but it's being sheared apart somewhat. I do think that we have to watch this Yadkinville stuff down here. That cell down there, I don't like the look of that. But since I don't have any warnings to tell you about in terms of tornado warnings, I think we're going to just cover it with a regular post. If it gets tremendously bad, something changes, I'll jump back on. But I think we're just going to have, for the most part, some embedded storms that could start to spin. We may have one or two warnings out, but I don't know if they're going to be as intense or as widespread as the tornado warnings that we had earlier. As I say that, though, I'm looking at Roy Treat and Withville real quick here. Yeah. And some broad rotation just across Roy Treat. Not enough, no special weather statement out for that area as of yet. So, I'm going to take another time out. I'm hanging out here, though. I'll be letting you know via cell phone or via this more professional format if anything else kind of pops up. Just stay tuned to my Twitter feed and my other outlets there. And for you Cable 12 viewers, you'll see the information crawl on the screen from the cable company in Franklin County, Chantel. And stay safe, everybody. It will come through Henry County about, it looks like, what time is it now? 11:48. I'd say 1:30 or 2 o'clock. The Yadkin County storm is moving toward Galax, yes. Well, actually, the Yadkin County one's heading more to Mount Airy and Stewart. The one heading toward Galax is coming out of Roaring Gap, Allegheny County into western Surrey County, western Stokes County. That's that storm there. All right, folks, stay safe, and thanks for bearing with me as I'm here by myself doing it all. Actually, I want to give folks on TikTok a preview. There's the control surface. There's the real control surface. I'm controlling that right here. That's what that's about. So we appreciate you watching.